Alright, we're going to do a teardown of this little power supply. This is one I've had for, been using it for some time, it's been working pretty well. It's a 5 volt at, get that cleaned up a bit. There you go. You can see it's got CE, CCC, and the usual. Doesn't have UL. So I've already pre-cracked this one. You can see there's the mains there. It's looking rather dull. Solder looks reasonable. Parts placement's a little piled up. See this. That looks like, yeah, sure, looks like a resistor. Although that might actually be a fuse. Shine a little more light on it and take a look so I can see the end. It actually does look like a fuse. Yep. Alright, I just put a heat shrink tubing over it. We got our noise filter here. We're using, let's see if we can get some here. We got our diodes here for our input bridge. Typical 2 caps for the filtering. Again, there's our cap for the power supply for this chip. This is a... good luck with this one. THX203H. Yeah, like I said earlier, the solder is not too dull. Back it up a little bit there. There is no, well, the only surge suppression there is, well, those spiky foil pattern between the low voltage and don't see, this is the typical looking cap that we see coupling the low and side. It has some writing on it, but unfortunately it is so faint I really can't make it out. So we got one inductor, no common mode choke, but we do have a noise cap for noise filtering, opto isolator for our voltage feedback, 2, what are probably 1.5 for judging from the side size. These could be 3 amp fast diodes, and then there's another inductor in the secondary in there. So this one actually has 2 1000 microfarad capacitors. So let's put her back together and see what we can get out of it. Like I said, I've been using this one a bit. Alright, so in fact, let me go ahead and, while we're at this, let me go ahead and tack this back together. When I originally bought these, I actually cracked them open to make sure there was no real dodginess. Okay. Okay, so they've been working quite well for some time. Little tape to bind it. Ooh. Let me get that in there first, and then we bind it together. Uh-oh. Oh, this is apparently the fast-acting. There we go. This. Alright, so let's test the Kooltec. I can take all the electrical tape off of it now that I've glued it back together. And again, this is a power supply that I've actually been, whoops, almost knocked it off the stand there, that I've been using for a while. And I haven't had any issues. I actually had bought a couple of these at the time, and I just never got around to putting this one back together. So now it's back together. So we're going to plug it in. We're going to take the other end here, we're going to plug it into here. Let's see how it does. Move this out of the way. So 5.22 with no load, or minimal load. And just over an amp, we're at 4.8. 2 amps, or a little over 4.74. Ooh. So I think this is probably basically usable up to 2 amps. And it kind of falls off quite a bit. Of course, it's not going to be rated for more than 2 amps, I believe. Yep, 2 amps. Let's dial it into 2 amps and see what we get. So we're probably losing a half a volt. Yeah. Across the wiring. Anyway, that is... Again, this one's done quite well for me. Running Raspberry Pis. Yeah. But you can see we're probably suffering from a fair amount of voltage drop across the cables.